If you look at the data center and the way that it's been approached historically, enterprises had various lines of businesses, right? We'll think of the biggest ones to kind of use that as a best example, right, in a case study. And the lines of businesses would have a specific need. Sales needed to turn up a Salesforce.com. Design needed a bunch of servers for CAD to develop the products that they had, right? And when they needed that application, they spent their money in terms of their R&D budget or their cost budget, and they turned up a server. Well, as innovation came in the processor industry from Intel and from the ecosystem, we realized that we needed to do more than one application per server. It caused massive complexities in terms of IT cost, right, and OpEx, right? And so eventually the industry came up with virtualization. And guys like VMware said, well, why don't we virtualize a server, put in an intermediate software shim, which is what a hypervisor really is, and then put the apps on top. And so they did that. And that's how VMware, I think, started in the marketplace. And then we realized, wow, performance, when you keep switching these applications out, is quite slow on that server, right? And it takes forever to switch from one app to the other. And so Intel, with our continued innovation around the processor complex, took the ability of virtualization at a software level and enabled it within the hardware itself. So we made the processor now support the context switches and allow, when the hypervisor decides to take the Salesforce application and move it out and move the R&D application in, that it happens at a very granular processor speed. So that's like the first stage of the evolution of the data center that I think the industry is well familiar with. And the interesting thing that we tend to talk about is everyone thinks, oh, virtualization's done. It's next step, it's now cloud, it's SDN, software-defined networking. Reality is that I think one of the numbers that we hear about is that only 15% of servers deployed on the planet is actually virtualized. And so tremendous opportunity still for many, many folks that are trying to sell servers to the marketplace, partners that are offering professional services to go out and help with that problem. The next stage that the industry has frankly moved on in terms of the leading edge adopters, right, is they've got virtualized servers and now they have virtualized data centers and they have geographically dispersed data centers as well. And these all require massive IT investment in terms of operational expense for the IT departments to manage these data centers, right? Take an Intel, for instance, right? We have data centers across the planet to support our operations of 110,000 people, right, across the world. And different lines of businesses, product development, R&D, the folks that make the processors, to folks like me that do business development to the market, right? And so in that environment, that's where this idea comes off beyond virtualization. Now we have this idea of cloud computing. And so the market is focused on this idea, and it's been deploying in the market, is that you should be able to take a virtualized solution, and when you have a virtualized solution, you're managing the hardware infrastructure and making sure that you can manage all the applications on it. But in a cloud, you're moving it to the next level where you say, well, gee, if an enterprise user or a consumer of that application from a line of business, be it sales or development or whatever division, line of business within the enterprise, can that person self-provision his need for a server, right? So he's got for instance, a salesperson, she's got a big event coming up and 1,000 people are going to attend, and she needs to have a Salesforce.com or a SQL database turned up, and she can go to a portal without any human intervention, which is OpEx, right, and cost, and be able to self-provision her need of an application, turn it on, and boom, there it is for her to use, right? And that's what cloud is about, is many people wonder, is cloud real? Is it just a buzzword or whatever? But cloud is a reality in many companies, and Cisco, for instance, has their cities architecture, which they've got. Intel has a cloud deployed internally as well within our IT, and it's the idea of being able to take those applications that are constantly used, but they're only used on an as needs basis, and so you make it self-orchestrated and self-provisionable from the end user. So that's where we are in the industry is right now, is the industry's got Amazon, for instance, deploying a tremendous amount of cloud services to the marketplace, and then you've got private enterprise class cloud developers across the planet that are offering a differentiated cloud specifically targeted at enterprise versus consumer, right? iCloud and Amazon Web Services are consumer. Amazon, I guess, is consumer and enterprise. iCloud is largely servicing their clients, right? The folks that use Apple products, right? And then there's enterprise class cloud service providers that are focusing specifically on the enterprise's need as well.